Good morning, students. I welcome you to today's class. I strongly believe you are all doing well and ready for today's class. Kindly get your writing materials and sit properly like a king and queen as we continue with today's class. Today we'll be treating a topic titled Common Diseases of Farm Animals Caused by Protozoa. Common diseases of farm animals caused by protozoa. Remember last week we treated common fungi diseases of farm animals. Diseases of farm animal caused by fungi. We have treated that of virus. We have treated the one for bacteria. And as our last week that we treated common diseases of farm animal caused by fungi, we mentioned some of these diseases like ringworm and aspergillosis. I gave us assignment. Let's quickly take up the correction to the assignment. In the assignment question, you were asked to mention the infected animals on heartwater disease. Animals infected by heartwater disease. The first one we have here: cattle, sheep, goats, and pig. These are the animals affected by heartwater disease. The second question is the causal organism. The causal organism is protozoa called Rickettsia ruminantia. Mode of transmission of heartwater disease. It is transmitted by ticks of the genus Amblyomma. That is the mode of transmission. The symptoms of heartwater disease: 1. You have fever, high fever, movement in cycle, that's cycling movement, just like Newcastle disease, convulsion, twitching of the eyelid. These are the symptoms of heartwater disease. Treatment: by the use of sulfonamide and tetracycline. Sulfonamide and tetracycline are the two ways of treating heartwater disease. Prevention and control: you have regular baiting and dipping of susceptible animals in azothole or thick-heel. This is a preventive measure for heartwater disease. Let's take note of that. I believe we have all listened to the correction to last week's assignment. Then let's go to today's topic. Remember, the topic is disease caused by protozoa. Farm animal diseases caused by protozoa. Let's take up the objective of the topic. 1. Identify some diseases caused by protozoa. Discuss the mode of transmission of the disease. State the symptoms of the disease. Outline the treatment and preventive measures of the disease. We are going to identify the diseases caused by protozoa. The first one we have here is trypanosomiasis. Trypanosomiasis is a fungal disease that affects cattle, goats, and sheep. We have cattle here, goat, and sheep. These are the three major animals infected by Trypanosomiasis. Mode of transmission. Mode of transmission. 1. It is transmitted by fly. This is a very good picture of a fly. By biting infected animals. Transmitted by fly by biting infected animals. Two, sucking the protozoa and injecting it into the blood of the healthy animals. When fly bites the infected animals, sucks the blood and injects it into the blood of a healthy animal. Animals that have been infected by trypanosomiasis, when fly bites such animal, it sucks the blood and injects the blood of the infected animals into healthy animals. Such healthy animal can then be infected with trypanosomiasis. Symptoms. How would you know that an animal has been affected by trypanosomiasis? 1. High fever. 2. General weakness. 3. Hair on tail often pulled off. This is a very good symptom of trypanosomiasis. Remember, high fever occurs virtually in all the diseases of farm animals, and as well general weakness. Every animal infected by a particular disease definitely will show a symptom of high fever and general weakness. But when the animal is infected by trypanosomiasis, such animal will have pulled out tails. The tail of the animal will always pull out. Then drop in level of animal production is another symptom. Drop in level of animal production and sudden death. Drop in animal level of production is as well a common symptom to other farm animal diseases. Even sudden death is a common symptom. Then please take note of this particular one, as hair on tail often pulled off, as the major symptom of trypanosomiasis. Treatment. Use of drugs. The use of drugs like trypanosomida is a very good drug to use in the treatment of trypanosomiasis. Then use of chemicals to kill the flies. Fly that transmits trypanosomiasis can be killed with the use of chemicals. When the fly is killed, the transmission or spread of trypanosomiasis is reduced. Let's take note of that. Generally, killing of fly is most effective in the treatment. Should not be around animals. Prevention. Use insecticide to destroy fly, which is very important, as I have just mentioned. Use insecticide to destroy fly, and good sanitation measure. Good sanitation measure will help to prevent the spread of trypanosomiasis. Take note of that. Don't forget, we have just stated a particular disease caused by Protozoa, which is trypanosomiasis. The mode of transmission: by biting, sucking, and transmission of the blood from sick animals to healthy animals. The symptoms: high fever, and which is common to other diseases. The major symptom is pulling out or pulling off of the hair around the tail region of the animals. The preventive measure or control measure is destroying the tsetse fly using insecticide and practicing good sanitation measures. Let's take up the second one, Coccidiosis. Coccidiosis is a disease caused by Protozoa as well and very fatal. It's a very serious disease of poultry birds and rabbits. It usually affects poultry birds. Before we continue, please pick up your pen now and your notebook. Write out 3 poultry birds you know. 3 poultry birds. 3 examples of poultry birds. Alright, I believe you have all written it. Coccidiosis affects poultry birds. Poultry birds, you remember we have fowl, duck, turkey, and so on, are all examples of poultry birds. Let's see the mode of transmission. Contaminated fields. They are affected or infected through contaminated fields, water, and feces. Contaminated fields, water, and feces. We have symptoms. Blood-stained feces is number 1. I believe we can all see the picture of this poultry bird. Specifically is a fowl. You see the poultry droppings. The droppings from their anus is stained with blood. The droppings from their anus is stained with blood. It's a very good sign of coccidiosis when an animal is infected by coccidiosis. So the poultry farmer should take note of this particular disease. When you see a bird being infected by coccidiosis, such bird definitely will have blood-stained feces. Loss of weight, which is as well a common symptom of other diseases. We have diarrhea. Diarrhea, just like blood-stained feces, constant dropping from their anus. Diarrhea. Let's take note of that. Then refilled feathers is the most common symptom of coccidiosis. Refilled feathers. Irritating. The feathers are usually irritating. So irritating. The feathers usually pop up, not like other birds, as you can see in this picture. The feathers usually pop up and reduce egg production. There will be reduction in egg production. Treatment. Use of sulfur-containing drugs. Make use of sulfur-containing drugs to treat coccidiosis. Prevention. Good sanitation measure. It is discovered that good sanitation measure is a very common way of preventing all animal diseases. A poultry farmer or other animal farmers are expected to engage in good sanitation measures. Avoidance of wet litters and fields. The poultry birds should not be allowed to feed on wet watery, wet litters and fields, or dirty fields generally, contaminated fields. I believe we are all following. Let's look to common diseases caused by worm. Don't forget where we started. For the past 4 weeks now, we have been treating diseases of farm animals. We have done that of bacteria, virus, fungi, protozoa. Now we are looking into common diseases caused by worm. Common diseases caused by worm. Worm. Nematimidites, nematimidites. Generally, you call it roundworm infection. Roundworm infection. And it usually affects or attacks mostly pigs. Roundworm infection attacks mostly pigs. Let's see the causal organism. It is caused by roundworm. This is a very good picture of a roundworm. It is caused by roundworm called Anseris lumbricans. Anseris lumbricans is the worm that causes roundworm infection. Mode of transmission: swallowing the egg of the worm. When the animals swallow the egg of the worm during feeding, specifically pig, we know how pig feels. Pigs like moldy places. They graze on moldy places. So when the animal feed on their eggs, they can be infected by roundworm infection. Symptoms: loss of appetite, which is one of the general symptoms of farm animal diseases. Loss of weight as well. Indigestion and constipation. Indigestion and constipation. 4. High infection can lead to respiratory disorder. Respiratory disorder is the most symptom of roundworm infection. Respiratory disorder. Let's take note of that. Treatment: deworming of infected animals. Infected animals should be dewormed regularly. Prevention: good sanitation, which we have talked about before. Every farmer is expected to practice good sanitation. Then we have routine deworming, which is as well regular deworming. Avoidance of contaminated fields and water. Avoidance of contaminated fields and water. The farmer should be able to identify fields that are contaminated and should not allow the animals to feed on it, including water. It is important for the farmer to identify that a particular field is contaminated and prevent the animals from feeding on such fields or water. The next one we have Coccidiosis, which is tapeworm infection. Tapeworm infection. The first one is roundworm. Why this is called tapeworm infection? The disease attack cattle, pig, and as well man. Cattle, pig, and as well man. Causal organism: tapeworm called Taenia solium in pig and Taenia saginata in cattle. Taenia solium in pig and Taenia saginata in cattle. Let's take note of that. The causal organism of tapeworm infection. This is a very good picture of a tapeworm. It's an endoparasite. Roundworm and tapeworm are endoparasites. We'll be treating parasites soonest. They live inside the body of their organisms. They derive their food from other organisms. Tapeworm, roundworm are endoparasites. They derive their food from their host. Man is one of their hosts, and other animals like cattle, goat, sheep are the host of most endoparasites like tapeworm and roundworm. Mode of transmission: 1. When the animal pick up pollute from the soil during feeding. Symptoms: abdominal pain and discomfort. Abdominal pain and discomfort. Even in man, when you are being disturbed by tapeworm in the system, such person usually complain of abdominal pain. Abdominal pain is the major symptom of tapeworm infection disease. 2. Anemia. Anemia means shortage of blood. Shortage of blood can take place in such animal or man when one is infected by tapeworm infection. We have weakness or general weakness as well, indigestion and vomiting. That is why at times you see some children, immediately they finish eating, they throw up or vomit whatever they have eaten. Hold down their stomach and could be crying because of the pains. Indigestion can take place when the food refuses to digest, meaning the person is being infected by tapeworm infection. And vomiting immediately after eating. A child that vomits immediately after eating has been infected by tapeworm infection, or animal as well. After feeding, such animal vomits such food, the animal has been infected by such disease. Then you have frequent eating as well. Constantly, the person is always hungry. Within the period of 3 hours, 2 hours, always require food in the stomach, because it's an endoparasite. Tapeworm is an endoparasite that as well consume from what you as a host have eaten. The tapeworm feed on what you, the host, have eaten. So the person is liable to be hungry frequently, all the time. Treatment: deworming of infected animals and as well man. Regular deworming can cure tapeworm infection. Prevention and control: good sanitation, which is one of the general ways of preventing animal diseases. Regular deworming of infected person or infected animal. Then cook meat properly before eating to avoid the consumption of it. Meat should be properly cooked before eating. All right, we have come to the end of today's class. I will employ us to read up these textbooks. Essentials of Agricultural Science for Junior Secondary by Ernest Chukwudi, Annie, and Agricultural Science for JSS2 by S. Omosekeji. Is that taken? Assignment 1. What is the other word for anemia? Or how would you describe anemia? 2. Good sanitation requires the farmer to dash. Good sanitation requires the farmer to dash. Send your response to the email below, vera.okenye@greenlandhall.org. Thank you for being part of this amazing class. I remain Vera Okenye. Bye.